Season 10. It's arrived. Whether or not, as I said in the last episode, it is the final season is yet to be determined, because despite, the fact that this series has been up and down, we've won a Stanley Cup, singular. We've won a Stanley Cup. I don't feel like we've had those huge moments. We haven't had the series-defining moments of victories and certain players going above and beyond and kind of solidifying themselves to the point where I can look back and be like, man, that guy was a reason as to why we had success in this series. We've had some great players on this team, but I have a very empty feeling at this point. I think really the only guy that comes to mind that I can look back on is Anton Forsberg and his magical run in goal to get us into the playoffs and then have playoff success. Aside from that, there's a couple of other names, but they're not even at that level. But moving forward into this season, I have the trading block set up for the computers to hopefully offer me some deals. We're looking for people that are, high 80s on offense and defense. Actually, we'll take a look at it. Offensively, we're looking for someone who is 88 or above. Do we get an offer for that type of caliber player? I highly doubt it. Defensively, it's 86 and up, because for me to initiate the trades, I have to give up fucking everything. The computers, they'll offer what they see fit. But for now, I like the way the team is. As far as our surplus goes, we're willing to give up any defender who is under the rating of 83. So essentially Steve Wolf and below, which is kind of the way it is. I'm kind of tempted to include Sean Day in there, but we'll go 83 for now. As far as forwards go, anyone and everyone. I am willing to make a trade if the price is right, as if I didn't make enough of those jokes in the last Vancouver episode. But one more thing, as I actually went too far out of the menu. One more thing, we are going to sign a goalie. Chubarov right now is our only goaltender in Providence. We're going to send an offer to Sawchenko. That way, if Chubarov goes down to injury, Sawchenko is there and can hopefully get the Providence Bruins into the playoffs so we can get more proper progression. But because of the trading block being set up the way it is, I'm anticipating getting a lot of offers, mainly for draft picks and swapping those. So we are going to go on our normal week-by-week basis, but we are going to sim up here to this Ottawa game first and see if Sawchenko accepts our deal. No word from Sawchenko, so we will sim ahead through the Ottawa game. The first game of the season, it's a 3-2 win, and Sawchenko accepts. We will put him into the lineup as the backup in Providence in one moment, because we are just going to sim through this Washington game, and we will give Serge Lacerte his first start of the new season against Philadelphia. We get another 3-2 win to start off the season. Not too bad at all. We will keep it live for the hell of it. I do want this episode to also be condensed, maybe not as condensed as last episode, because that went by pretty quick and we had to make a lot of edits to get that to go. But the draft has been its own animal. I won't cover that again, because that is a topic that I could talk about until the end of time, but the points will remain the same old garbage as far as that drafting system goes. So right now we'll take out Johansson, who is an AHL keeper. We will put in Sawchenko, and I do want to give you a quick look too as well. I didn't really cover him too much. Stu Hannon, 86 overall, with elite potential. He has some pretty damn good stats, so I'll take it. His wrist shot, though, was crazy. 99 accuracy, only 74 power. I'm intrigued to see what he can do, and of course now with the likes of a Finneganoff, I'm interested to see what he can, or with what Crosby can do with the two of them. English, don't you know it's a little bit difficult. Philadelphia 0-2. Can Serge Lacerte get the win? He didn't have the best of starts last season. It's a 4-2 win, and case in point, we get an offer from Philly. I'm immediately going to decline that. I'm going to get a ton of offers like that. It's going to be pretty annoying, as I also didn't mean to back out of the calendar. We're going to sim the next two games. Lacerte will get the game on the 20th against Florida. The perfect start to the season only lasts one more game. We get a 4-0 win over the Wild, but a 3-1 loss to the Florida Panthers, who are undefeated and have overtaken us for first place in the division. Of course, we're going to have competition from them. They always manage to have a good team, but not a bad start to the season for Mikhail Soderstrom. Lacerte gets the start and we will hopefully avenge that loss in a home and home. Can we get the win? We do. 6-2. Much better that time out. We get another trade offer. I've already turned down 6 trade offers from the New York Rangers. Lacerte will get the start here against the Rangers, and then we'll be able to sim a little bit ahead. One thing though, after checking the player morale, David Pastrnak has once again requested a trade. So despite his morale coming back up, we lose 3-0 to the Rangers. That's pretty disappointing. But despite Pasternak's morale coming back up, he still wants to be traded. This morale system continues to screw with me at every single turn. But hopefully, if we continue to win, Pasternak's attitude will change. But right now, he's not too happy. Speaking of morale as well, Gary Harper does not get along with Sidney Crosby. So it's a little bit concerning. But moving forward here, we're going to be going into the month of November. We will sim until the Dallas game here. Dallas game will give Serge Lacerte the Western Conference opponent. Let's see what Soderstrom can do. See if we can continue our decent start to the season. It's only for a few days, but Jesus Christ, one game. We get through one game and Mikhail Soderstrom hurts his back. That is just... Man, they say life isn't fair. You're fucking telling me. Come on, man. This better not be a theme. We had injury issues with Malcolm Subban. We cannot afford injury issues here. God, oh my God. See, this shit right here. This shit right here where I can't see fucking Sawchenko. There we go. My God, EA, you have to fix this shit. You have to fix this shit. This happens constantly in this GM mode. Obviously, I don't show it because it's irrelevant. But stuff like that really has to go. Your menu system's terrible. Obviously, you've changed at least the look of it for NHL 17, as we've seen in the trailer. But you got to get on top of shit like that. It is simply unacceptable. But anyway, moving forward, Serge Lacerte will be the starter. Soderstrom will be back. But that just means more editing for me. And fuck it. You know what? We'll just keep it live anyway. We get another trade offer I'm not going to take. We'll keep it live because he'll be back here after this Buffalo game. Anyway, okay, never mind. He's back now. So let's go put him back in now because I have no goddamn choice. Otherwise, he'll lose morale and then he'll want to be traded too. I will mention this as well. The Buffalo game is going to sim right here as we also get a trade offer from them. Hopefully we can get the win with Soderstrom. We do. It's 5-2. More trade offers. It's going to be brutal. What am I setting myself up for? Regardless, and you know what? We'll actually sim to the Dallas game here live just for the hell of it because I do want to talk about this. I mentioned it in another episode way back, but as far as the morale system goes, obviously Zachary Sawchenko just lost morale and not trading Thomas Bader to Calgary. Obviously Sawchenko just lost morale because I called him up and sent him back down. Justin Falk can wait. EA, I'm begging you for GM mode, please implement some kind of system where when you call somebody up, you tell that prospect, hey, you're only here to cover for an injury. Don't expect to be up here, but if you impress me, you might be back sooner rather than later. That way, I don't have to lose morale when my injured player comes back after one game and I have to send that guy back down or scratch him. That would be a gigantic help. Now, Justin Falk is out for what, 3 months? Jesus Christ, EA, not this again, please. Not the injury bug again. You bit us hard enough last season. That's a pretty big loss too. Again, I was hoping for a big season out of Justin Falk. We're going to go with Laurent Maisonneuve. Again, I probably fucking butchered that, but that is one hell of a name. He's a right-handed shot. He will fill in perfectly for Justin Falk. Defensively, here is what we are going with. This is pretty much what our lineup would have looked like without acquiring Maroon to begin with. Not the greatest of lineups. But I hope my morale point wasn't lost. I really do hope they add a change like that because realistically, my God, these injuries just keep racking up. Realistically, if a player is called up, management is going to tell them, hey, you're not going to be here long, so don't be discouraged when we send you down. That was my point. Lacerte is in for this next game against the Dallas Stars. We are up to an 8-3 record. Did I jinx us into a loss? I didn't. It is a shootout win. We will take care of the scouting. We will reject that trade offer. Soderstrom gets the next 4, maybe 5 games here in a row before Lacerte will get another start. Let's see how he can do. Can we maintain our first place position. We've fallen back down to earth a little bit. We have an 11-5 record thus far, but 2 losses, 2 wins, a 5-0 shutout loss to the Edmonton Oilers. But Lacerte will be in against the Washington Capitals. Obviously, the next game is against a divisional rival in the Detroit Red Wings. But Mikhail Soderstrom, not too bad thus far, a .930 save percentage. Lacerte with a .915, not too bad. I've said it numerous times, but aside from the Rask-Subban combo or Anton Forsberg as our backup, really, historically, in this GM mode, we have had terrible luck with our backup goalies, sub 800 or near sub 800 save percentages on a few occasions, like that bad. It was pretty brutal, but Lacerte gets us another win. It's 4-2 over the Washington Capitals. By the way, our grades, 92 offense, 95 defense. Not too bad. I believe those are our highest grades thus far in this series. But another good performance for Lacerte, and we should be able to get some simming out of the way here. We will finish the month of November, heading into December, and Lacerte will not get another start until December 11th against the LA Kings. So we have a lot of games that are about to be simmed here, guys, but let's see how this team can do as we continue our push for first place. A bit of a rocky start to end the month of November. 3 losses in our last 5, but we do pick up wins against division rivals Florida and Toronto. As we move to the month of December, we are 3-1 thus far. A loss to Carolina, but wins over Nashville, New York, and Arizona. So it's a 17-9 record, currently in second place. No overtime losses, so the Florida Panthers have us beat in points. Thanks to that, we have had a bit of an injury scare as well. David Pastrnak went down for a little bit of time, particularly in some of those early games of that sim period where we started to slip up. So that was a little bit disappointing, but we get a 4-2 win over the LA Kings. Lacerte continues to be solid in goal for us, which is very nice to see. We'll actually take a look again at the goalie stats. Lacerte has a .914 save percentage. He's staying solid. Soderstrom still at a .930. We've edited the trade block down as well. I'm not going to bother turning down a trade offer after every single game. It was simply taking too long. Second answer is the way to go. We get the morale up there as we continue to gel. We're up to an 86 in terms of our locker room chemistry, which we don't often get up that high. But right now, Mikhail Soderstrom against Florida, it's a 5-2 loss. He will get another chance to avenge that. Our second home and home of the series, or of the season, against the Florida Panthers. Not too worried about the AHL injury, and we drop both games to the Panthers. Pretty disappointing. Lacerte is in goal for this game against the Vancouver Canucks. It's a 4-1 loss, and we are starting to slip a bit after a decent start to the month. So that is a little bit concerning. I definitely think we are missing Justin Falk. In terms of our offense, we'll have to take a look at how some of our players are doing as well, but disappointing now so far for this month. But up next, we have games against Calgary, Columbus, and Pittsburgh, and we will sim these next 3 before Lacerte gets another start against the Dallas Stars. 3 consecutive trips to a shootout, and we walk away with 5 out of a possible 6 points. Not too bad of a 3-game stretch. I will take that, and Lacerte looks like he has a tough start ahead of him against Dallas. They seem to have a pretty good record, but I have faith in him. He has proven himself up to this point. We will see what he can do. So here we go. Dallas Stars and Lacerte. Can you get us a win here? Hopefully so, and it's a 4-1 loss. This month continues to be a little bit back and forth. A 20-12-2 record now to this point on the season. Not exactly. I didn't think we'd run away with the league or anything, but I do feel like we have a stronger team than last year. Of course, we gave up a lot to get some of these players. But Nashville and Montreal up next for Mikhail Soderstrom. And again, it continues to be back and forth. A shootout loss to Nashville, but an overtime win against Montreal. 3 out of a possible 4 points. We'll have to use any point, or really any point we can get will be useful. We are still second in the Atlantic Division. winding down this episode, we will stop, of course, at the All-Star break, as we tend to do with these sim periods. Normally go a little bit quicker, but we've had quite a few back-to-backs, particularly in this month. It's a 6-5 overtime loss against Toronto. We have 1 month to go. Pretty much. We're going to the end of the month. It's the All-Star break, man. You know how it is. You know where we go. But let's take a look really quick again at the goalies. Lacerte and Soderstrom both really struggling at this point, particularly Serge Lacerte's falling off. So already I'll ask you guys the question, what should we do? Should we continue to rotate goalies as much as we do? Should we look for a better backup goalie? It shouldn't be too difficult to find one. Jake DeBrusk now, a legit first line forward, only 8 goals, 26 assists though. Despite having a really good shooting category, he's always been more of a playmaker despite 82 passing. I haven't really understood that. Gary Harper, only 16 points on the top line, pretty disappointing. Pasternak as well, pretty disappointing as he's not really a true goal scorer. We might have to shake things up. But Finneganov not doing too bad. Crosby not doing too bad. Stu Hannon, 13 goals. Goodrow not doing too bad with 23 points, but that third line, all minus players, we might have to shake things up. And you know what? Let's do it right now. So there you have it. We've shaken up the lines a bit. Crosby and Hannon now on the top line, and the third line has pretty much been swapped with the fourth. Goodrow, Zarnik, and Panarin are regrouped together, but they are on the fourth line. So definitely an unfamiliar situation for them, but we definitely have to switch things up here. Our biggest sim period of the episode is up next as we get in at least the next 6 games. Actually, we'll go 7 here. The next 7 games for Soderstrom. What can he do for us? And from the looks of it, the lineup changes have seemingly worked. Only 2 losses, only 1 in regulation in that span of games, pushes us still to a decent record of 26, 13, and 5. Still in second place, though. The Florida Panthers are going to be tough to overcome, but it looks like we made the line changes at the right time. Lacerte needs to get a win here, or else we will go out and get a new backup goalie in the next episode. It is his last start. Can he keep his starting job? It's a 4-1 win, but he goes down to a concussion for the rest of the month. Moving forward for the final few games, and we have had some good progression so far this episode, of Finneganov and Hannon both up to 88s. Bader, I'm not sure when this happened, has elite potential. We'll see if he can grow to it. If we go best lines, it puts him as our top center, so that might be a telling sign. Keane is up to a 96 overall. He's not lighting the world on fire with 15 points, but again, despite 93 passing, he never gets assists. It's ridiculous. Part of me really wants, I remember doing this before, before doing YouTube and everything. I kind of want to put him like on the right wing and just see what he can do, because his stats are fucking ridiculous. But Justin Falk is also back from injury. We will see what he can do for us here in the next few games. Let's sim these final 3 games, though, of the episode. Chicago, Columbus, and Tampa. Can we take first place in the standings? We will not. After that loss, we'll dismiss player morale for the next couple of minutes. An 8-1 win against Columbus, and then an overtime loss to Tampa Bay. So at the end of this episode, we finish with a 28, 14, and 6 record. Not amazing, but we are in second place in our division, 4 points back of the Florida Panthers, Florida with the game at hand, but we are 10 points clear of the third place team. So unless something drastic happens, it is a 2-horse race for home ice advantage or first place in the Atlantic Division. In the Metro, they have actually the exact same situation between Columbus and Washington. So it is going to be a fucking race to the finish to see who can get first place and home ice advantage. So as we wrap up this episode, I'll give you guys another quick look at the lines. Where do you think we should try to improve? If we should try to improve at all? Again, if I knew for sure that I was going to call it, just call it quits at the end of Season 10, of course I would just go all out. But I don't know if that's really what I want to do. So obviously we could use some improvements, but guys like Muzzin who is actually a third-line guy. He has 16 points. It's not too bad. If he could finish with 30+, that would be great. It's guys like Bader and Sugelbach, though. We really need to see them progress. But in the meantime, they are putting up points. Defensively, Steve Wolf might be the weak link. He's not having the greatest season, but he's not having the worst season either. So we can definitely improve our team. It's just a matter of where and for what price. But like we said, and like we showed, it is going to be a race to the finish against Florida, Washington, and Columbus. And that'll do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. In the next one, we will go through the trade deadline, and we will finish up Season 10. It's looking promising. Anything can happen, positively or negatively. I'm intrigued to find out what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.